St. Lucians are getting ready to head to the polls with the announcement of the date of the general election on Monday, July 26, 2021. But the specter of the COVID-19 pandemic still looms, especially against the background of more campaign activity.
Looking at the range of activities that traditionally occur during the campaign period of elections, most of those activities are high-risk mass crowd activities where you have a lot of persons within a confined setting. And also looking at the precedents that has been set in the region post-general elections, practically all of the countries noted a huge spike, and especially for us, when we look at where the risk areas for increasing cases are, it's those social activities.
However, Chief Medical Officer Dr. Sharon Belmar-George says public health authorities and law enforcement have drawn up guidelines that underpin the framework for the safety protocols to reduce risk. The agencies have held a dialogue with the various interests. These guidelines, which are now firmly in place, were first hinted at a few weeks ago by the Commissioner of Police, Milton Daisy, and further thrashed out at a recent police press briefing.
So what the Ministry of Health did in anticipation of the upcoming elections were to generate protocols, and the Environmental Health Unit worked very well in the preparation of those. I have to acknowledge them, looking at what and how activities happen on the ground. We put in, together with the Royal St. Lucia Police Force, taking into consideration that those activities generally, the permission is granted through the legislative process, through the police, the Commissioner of Police. So we were able to put together a draft to reduce transmission. There remain high-risk activities, but the protocols ensures that a framework is put into place to reduce the transmission. And these protocols, we did have a consultative process with the main stakeholders, and they did bring some very important points to allow us to tweak this protocol to reduce the impact.
The CMO, during the latest COVID-19 update media press conference, says consensus was reached with various stakeholders on the public health protocols to guide the election campaign period. Measures have been instituted to limit the size of crowds significantly to curb the rate of transmission of the virus.
And some of the things are, traditionally there are very huge national campaign meetings. This is one of the activities that we are avoiding, and to instead have the meetings at the level of the constituency. We've also allowed the motorcades, but within a framework where you remain within your vehicle, to as much as possible reduce the large crowds that can be associated with it. And we've also limited the times as well to reduce the number of activities. So I think that was a very progressive meeting with the various stakeholders where they understood where the major risks are. The Ministry of Health at this point, we are planning and we do anticipate to get increasing cases with the increased activities on the ground. But we are hoping that this can be reduced as much as possible through the implementation of some of those protocols within the document that has been finally approved.
Despite anxieties about the anticipated rise in cases, officials are reportedly implementing procedures to ensure St. Lucians can exercise their franchise, the all-important constitutional right to vote in a parliamentary democracy. Joachim de Plessis, HTS News Force.